Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for Truth show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to have you back with us again today. And first, I want to address a common question that we're getting is, how do we get the previous episodes? So you go on a YouTube, select the Time for Truth show, and you find and click the subscribe button. We'll be happy to have you as one of our viewers, and you'll be availed of all the previous episodes. And tonight we're going to deal in a subject that is humanity, brotherhood, bringing joy and good feelings, good vibes, good energy to the world. In the last few years, it's something that there's been a scarcity of. And tonight, we're very lucky to have on our show a man who has dedicated his life to bringing joy and happiness to people not only in America, but all over the world. Mr. Frank Shake and Bake Streety. And Buddha, if you put him up on the screen with his pictures, we'll introduce him to our viewers. Harlem Globetrotter. There you see Frank. Mr. Streety is a legend. So well known for his dazzling dribbling and court presence. He actually scared Tiny Archibald when he had to guard him, because that's why they call him Shake and Bake, because you never knew where he was going to end up next. Shake graduated from Broome Tech, which is now known as Sunny Broome, with a degree in business administration in '68. And during that time, ESPN named him a street ball legend and included him amongst the top 24 best players produced by the famed Rucker Park League. Those including famous professionals such as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, and others. He began playing at the age of 12 and was a standout on the Eastern District High School's basketball team before going to Broome Tech in '66. Under its heyday under legendary coach Dick Baldwin. Dick said Frank was the most exciting and flamboyant player he'd ever had, a great dribbler with showbiz appeal. During his years at Sunny Broome, his team went 53-12, winning multiple tournaments and championships and heading to the Nationals both years. After graduating, Frank continued his education and basketball success at Kentucky's Murray State, graduating with a bachelor's degree in business. Mr. Streety, who had led teams from both colleges into NCAA playoff games, was inducted in the NCAA Hall of Fame in 1992, and there you see him with the ball. In '69, he decided to forego the Detroit Pistons of the NBA, and he joined the Harlem Globetrotters and played in venues across the globe. He relayed that he was the type of individual who liked to see people happy. He liked to cover up the frustrations and problems of the world. And with the Globetrotters, where basketball was half serious and half fun, he always said people could laugh and be happy. And he just loved kids. And after retiring in Florida and continuing to show off his basketball hoop tricks, he combined his love of the game with community service as instructor for the Youth Basketball of America Hoopsters, this program in Orlando, and as the CEO of the 360 ESAH Foundation, with the aim to inspire, educate, and empower communities around the world through the grassroots effort to bring about positive change in the life of our youth. Mr. Streety is also an ambassador for the Drug-Free World Education Program, safeguarding the lives of youth all across the country. There you see him with his lovely wife, Michelle. And Buddha, please bring Frank Streety up live on our screen. And let's bid a warm, a time for truth welcome to Shake and Bake Streety. How you doing?
Yeah, I just finished taking a little beautiful nap, as I always do. I feel great right now. That is something I've developed later in life, to take a little nap, to start all over a good day.
Well, you know what? You've done so much in your life. I tell you what, I don't think you've been stopping too often. So you definitely deserve any nap you want. I was going to ask you a question. What was it like growing up in Harlem back when you were a kid?
Well, it was a different type of life. As people know, back in the day, not only that they call it Harlem, was pretty much a language that everybody pretty much know, which they call the ghetto. And you know, when you deal with the ghetto type of situation, you come up with a lot of drugs, a lot of robbery, a little bit of everything. At that years in the early '60s and the late '50s, there was a lot going on during that time, and one was easy for kids to grow up to be kids at a very early age. Raising up in Harlem, at the age about 9 or 10 years old, you're almost like an adult, because you have to make adult decisions, because a lot of things was going on. Harlem had so much going on during that time, where people from all over the world used to come into Harlem because there was so much going on. People to come because all the top singers in the world used to go to the Apollo. The Apollo Theater. Most everybody in this world know what the Apollo was. And that's where all the superstars really first got their big break, is by performing at the Apollo. We also had a place where they had outstanding people who used to go there. It's called a Cotton Club. That was on Broadway, 125th Street. It was called a Cotton Club. So they had entertainment. They had more like blues and jazz, things in that nature. And blues and jazz was very, very big back in Harlem during that time. So a lot of people used to come just to go to the Cotton Club to get that straight blues and things in that nature. Also, we were the first people at that time used to have the after-hour clubs. You used to go in there at night and you used to leave and be in the morning, and to go to different places to have breakfast in the morning. But Harlem was a place to reckon with, because usually the first of everything. We had one ball. We used to go to the park and the playground, and we had thousands of kids, all of us, and we had one basketball. And so we used to play games, which is very different, very, very different than anybody around the world. Is that when you shoot the basketball and you get a rebound, you're allowed to go back up with it And a lot of times it's not going to be easy to go right back up with it. So you have to learn how to twist and turn and do a lot of different things just to get the basketball off, because everybody's on you on defense because they don't want to lose, because you got a long line behind you. So if you lose the game, you got a long wait for the second time around. So it was a lot of tricky things we used to do with the basketball to try to win, or for somebody can't block your shot. So that's why the first owner of the Harlem Globetrotter, his name was Abe Shopperstein. He had a dream about basketball players. He went to LA, Detroit, Chicago. He went all the different places around the world. And then he stopped at a place called Harlem, where I was born and raised at. Actually, I was born in Harlem Hospital. But anyway, Abe Shopperstein, when he came to Harlem, that's when you showed that little movie with Marcus Haynes in the hallway, dribbling past people on defense in the hallway. Abe Shopperstein was crazy about that. Then when Abe Shopperstein came to the basketball courts at the park and saw so many people out there performing with the basketball and doing different things, because there's no other place in the world that do not take the basketball back. So you play any other place in the world, if you shoot the ball and you rebound, you got to go all the way back behind the foul line, start all over. But in Harlem, everything goes. You keep on playing, and you got to be dipping and dabbing and twisting and turning, all kind of things like that. So when Abe Shopperstein saw something like that, he said, "Woo-wee, I'm glad I came to a place called Harlem." And at that time, he named the team. So that's what the first name Harlem came from. Harlem. And then he said, I got to take this here team on the road. I got to travel with this team. And that's when the Globetrotters came in. The Globe, that's traveling around. You get the Globe. And that's when the Abe said, this team we're going to call the Harlem Globetrotters. Trotters is when you playing, you're moving around. You're moving here to place. You're trotting. And globe is when you travel in different parts of the world. So that's when Abe came up with the name in his dream. He said, oh, I couldn't find a better name than that. And as today, people, and then he had that music, Sweet Georgia Brown. And that music with the Harlem Globetrotters was the open stages of everybody was just so happy and so warm. You know, when you come into the arena and you see the people and you put that music on, Sweet Georgia Brown, and it says, yes, the Harlem Globetrotters in the house. And,
wow. You know, you got me. I feel like I'm in the crowd already. I was going to ask you something. When you played back in college and you were winning all those championship games, I heard that as you got to the end of your career, they gave you a 90-second ovation. Is that true?
yes. I'm a very dedicated individual. When I plan to do something with somebody, I'll be a part of something, I give more than 100%. When I elected to go to Broome Tech and Murray State, I gave my 100% playing ability. And I'm an individual, like to win. I have winning attitude, winning moves. I talk to my teammates, let them know I'm a part of them. And a lot of times, my winning ability and strategies and talking to them have rubbed off on them. They start to feel they want to win. They had said to me many a times that they lost a lot of games when they was in high school because they didn't have a leader that always had that ability to feel positive. Always had that positive attitude. When I went someplace with my teammates to go, I always said, we're going to win this. I always had the attitude, I'm going to win. And I kind of rubbed it off with a lot of my teammates. So that's why we had a very successful college career, because I always had that attitude to win and to be a part of the team. I went to school, all walks of life. Coming out of Harlem, dealing with a black neighborhood, it was very different for me when I went upstate to college, because we had all walks of life. It was a whole new ball game for me. Even when I went to school in Kentucky, as you know, it was a whole new ball game for me, because I had to learn to deal with all walks of life. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but the people, from my ability playing and winning, I got to mingle with all the different walks of life at the college, off campus, and I began to feel more like a person. There's something I was missing when I was just in Harlem, because now I got to intermingle with all walks of life. And I never know that I could ever be a part of being a friend with a white person during that time, and find out that they're human like everybody else, because I was just in an all-black neighborhood. So for me to experience that part of it was a wonderful thing. Right now, as we speak today, I have all types of nationalities that are very good friends with me. And I was so happy, and I thank God that I had the opportunity to be in those positions, because a lot of people were still left behind and didn't realize that all walks of life was a wonderful thing. And I got the opportunity to be a part of that. So I felt real good by going to these type of schools that gave me a lot of experience and a lot of things that I never known about by coming out, just being in Harlem. And a lot of things in Harlem you had to learn to avoid, because there's so much drugs and things was going on. Fighting, the gang banging and things of that nature. I went to school and college, it was more about studying, getting to know people. It was a whole new life for me. I had to learn, which was not easy coming out of a situation for many years. But I made my mind up to do this. So like I said, I'm an optimistic individual. I like to win. I like to be a part of everything that is going on. So I made it my business to blend in, and I sure enough did, and I was so happy that I got
Wow,
an
well,
opportunity.
you know what? I was looking over everything you accomplished, and I can, as I'm listening to you tell me the story and tell our viewers the story, it makes total sense. What I want to ask you, you were inducted into the NCAA Hall of Fame. How did that feel to you when you heard that you were going to be inducted?
Oh boy, woo! You know, during that time, there was a very few people was going to college during that time in my neighborhood. The big thing when I was coming up is graduating from high school. That was a big thing. During that time, I don't know if people know about it or not, but they had like super seniors in high school that some was actually 20 and 21 years old, still going in their senior year. That was back in the day. You couldn't graduate from high school. They kept you there until you, didn't matter what age you were, you were still in high school, you know. But when I played basketball in high school, I was all city, all empire, and basketball in high school. I went back-to-back championship at Madison Square Garden. So I was very familiar with winning. I was very familiar of playing the game of basketball and being optimistic. So when I got the opportunity to go to college, I sit down, I prayed, and I said to myself, I'm going to make the best out of it. I know there's top ball players that I'll be playing against, and I got to outshine them. I just kept telling myself, be optimistic, and you got to outshine them. You got to work hard. You got to work hard. You got to be positive. I worked out. I was in very good shape. A lot of players used to play, and some of them were not in shape. I could play the first quarter like I played the last quarter. I was always in shape. They said, "Oh, this guy is fast. He's breathless. He plays so fast, and he should be out of breath." I played like the first quarter, like I said, all the way to the end quarter, like the first quarter. And I always said to myself, play hard, and things will start to work out for you in the long run. And this would happen. I was so optimistic, and I worked out, and always say I could come something. And one of my first big awards that I received as being a basketball player, that all those Super Bowl players, you name that was in the NBA, I played against. And they all talked about me. Back in the day, the college coaches used to have strategy. They used to talk before my team came to them. Well, we got to find a way to guard this Frank Streety. They used to have tapes and stuff like that on me, how to guard me. I found ways. See, my athletic ability and being in shape got me through a lot of the traps and things that they was trying to do on me. I was fast. I had a lot of strength. I was optimistic. I could handle the ball any kind of way. I had my left hand was just as strong as my right hand, and I'm right-handed. So I have to be able to go behind my back, between my legs, crisscross, this, that. They said, "Oh my God," and I do it with consistency. I was one of the players that, and stats, I didn't lose the ball. I didn't throw the ball away. I was maybe lose maybe once or twice in any game. Some games I played without no turnovers. I was good because I always say you can't win without the basketball. You can't give it up. So that was one of my automatas to me. Don't give that ball up to the other team. So I was very, very good with the ball, not losing it. So I was very good in that department. And out of the coaches for all the places I played that know that I was not a turnover. They try to trap me, things of that nature. I was not a turnover individual. And that's why they was studying me so much, because the things I was doing with the basketball and not turning it over, it got me into the Hall of Fame of basketball. Or could you imagine a kid coming out of Harlem, that background with the drugs and the fighting and the gangs and things of that nature, to be able to go on to college and then be able to be elected into the Hall of Fame of all the superstars you see on TV. That was one of the greatest times of my life, and it paid off by being optimistic, positive, and don't be a follower. So you in Harlem, you follow, you end up, half of the person end up being on drugs and doing the wrong thing. I was never a follower. I always wanted to be something that somebody could be proud of me, my parents. And I always told my mother and father, I'm always going to become something. I always was optimistic about that. And every
Wow.
Sunday time I went to church. But
You're
becoming
amazing. You know, I was going to say to you, it's so
wow.
amazing, so amazing. Like hearing you speak and the energy that comes across the screen as you speak and your intensity. I mean, I can almost visualize like you playing. Amazing. I can see why you were inducted. And so what I want to ask you, because then now here you are, you're on the Globetrotters all these years, and it seems like you were like you were made for the Globetrotters. What was it like for you in your Globetrotter career?
Well, first of all, when you during that time when you play for the Harlem Globetrotters, you have to have a different type of attitude. Whatever attitude you had in the past, about being strongly competitive. When people come to games, they be rooting for their team and booing the other teams and things of that nature. When you come to the Globetrotters and you play, your main objective is the people in the audience. The main objective also is to make them feel good, make them feel happy, to enjoy the game. See, when you're in the NBA, you got people who could be in the stadium that the team that playing against them is beating their team, and there be arguments. Oh, boo, 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 boo. You got booing. Excuse me. When you suit on that uniform with the Harlem Globetrotters, your main objective is to make people happy. And that was the thing that made me feel good. When I put that uniform on and I went out in that court and I see people laughing and joking and having fun and enjoying themselves, and I see them with their kids and their kids having fun. Say, oh, you see that? Oh, boy. You couldn't ask for a better feeling during that time playing on the court, which was a big difference than when you're going on the court, when you're doing the competitive thing, and you got people in the stadium that's booing and fighting, doing different types of language. It's a whole new ball game when you put that uniform with the Harlem Globetrotters and you start to perform. Boy, you're having such a rush of a good feeling when you see somebody happy. We deal with so much stress. And you go to the regular NBA games, you got a lot of stress, people cursing, people drinking, and going all off and doing all different types of things. See, when you come to the Harlem Globetrotters, we want people to be happy and kids to enjoy themselves. So when they leave the game watching our team, see, we were the originals, and our main objective is the people. See, they have different Globetrotters at different times of the year, that players that always get Harlem Globetrotters, but they have different players for different situations. During my time, I played with the originals, with the Clown Prince, like Miller Locke Lemon, Geese, Bobby Hunter, Showboat Hall, Marcus Haynes. The first bald-head guy before Michael Jordan, the first bald-head guy was Curly Neal, with the spin balls on his head. He's bald-headed, and we used to call him Curly Neal. We had a Clown Prince, Miller Locke Lemon, where we did all different types of tricks and things and make people happy and feel together with no separation in the audience. Oh, I want this team for that team. No, it wasn't nothing like that. They was happy and they enjoyed themselves. Could you imagine to just go someplace and just have a good time with your kids? And that was our main objective of all. You couldn't have a good feeling that when the game was over, how the spectator was so happy. And to see that with so much stress going on in the world today, to be in the arena and have so many people, because we have to pack them in now, and we have so many people so happy, and leave it in the kids, oh man, they're so thrilled. And what a wonderful feeling. And I felt so great coming from a competitive of winning and losing and being on a team and making people so happy. What was a wonderful thing for me. Wonderful thing for me. I look forward every night to play.
Wow. Well, you know what, Frank? I got to tell you, I've done a lot of shows, but the show tonight has been full of life. And, unfortunately, we had such a good time. We run out of time. But I tell you what, you got me happy. I know anybody watching the show tonight is happy. And, this is a great tribute to you, to the Harlem Globetrotters. We ran out of time for this show. We're going to have you back. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Doc. I really appreciate it that you have me. And I'm honored to have a person like you because you have such a wonderful, outstanding personality. And I feel good when I talk with you. You make a lot of sense. You make a lot of sense. But I want to thank you and thank you and thank you for allowing me to be here to share my story with you.
Well, you know what? It's our pleasure, and we'll continue. We'll have you on a show again, and we'll talk about your programs that you're doing, about that you're serious, and the other program about the drug education and all these things they do for kids. For tonight, unfortunately, we run out of time. But for those of you watching, let's listen to what Shake and Bake Streety has said. It's okay to be competitive, do a good product, but let's make each other happy. Let's really produce something important in the world. Let's be together and let's see each other through. Thank you, Frank Streety, Globetrotters, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
No problem. I'm looking forward for the next time, too. Thank you, Doc.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got. The world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet